So watch this. So this is how the soul logic process works. And I'd like to ask you, what, if anything, do you feel that you are unfinished about? Do you have any unfinished business with any person that has been kind of, nagging at you and you don't feel quite complete around, that we might help you with this process?
Yes, I do.
Oh, great. So tell me what that might be.
This is a woman who's been in my life for a long time, and I feel very impatient and frustrated with her because she's being a victim in her life. I've tried to help her, but it doesn't work. I've tried to fix her, it doesn't work. And I'm still wanting to stay away from her, and I don't like that feeling.
Let's first establish, what about this is not okay with you? That is, how do you feel when you encounter this person's experience?
Well, she asks for help, and she gets frustrated with me when I don't help anymore, and I get...
this is what I want to get to. What happens?
Yes, I get angry at her and impatient, very impatient, and I just don't want to see her anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
And,
so, do you feel good about yourself, or?
no, I feel very bad about myself when I feel like that.
I got it.
This is not who I am.
Okay, I got it. Well, that's fair. So we got some unfinished business here to deal with around this person.
Yes.
Now, I want to ask you a series of questions, if I may, and answer the questions, as forthrightly and honestly. Obviously, don't lie. I always have to say that to people, and then they always wonder, what do you think I lie? Lie all the time. But anyway, here are the questions. I'm going to ask you a series of 6 or 7 questions, and we'll go from there and see where it takes us. Fair?
Fair.
Okay. First question: do you believe in God? Is there such a thing as God in your imagining?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. Question number 2: do you think there is such a thing as the human soul?
Yes, yes.
Ah, great, good. So question number 3: what do you understand or experience to be the relationship between the human soul, your soul, and what you call God?
I believe my soul is a part of the divine. It connects me, my present experience with the divine. I think it's a huge, huge thing that I just might be sharing with a lot of people. It's my feeling about it, that when I connect with some people, we might be sharing that huge soul.
Well, then let me ask you this. Is it too much of a stretch? I don't want to put words into your mouth. Is it too much of a stretch to say that you and God are one?
I'm part of it. I don't... It's a yes and not quite one, as I'm the same, but I am certainly, all of me is part of God. I don't think God is the whole of me. I am the whole of God.
Okay. So all of you is a part of God, so that there's nothing that with regard to you that is not part of God.
Yes.
So you are that which is divine.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. That's your understanding?
Yes.
All right. And so now another question. Do you think that there's anything that can happen in the experience of the divine, of God, that God does not want to have happen?
No.
Great, okay. So one more question, please. Do you think that there's anything that can happen in the experience of your soul that your soul does not want to have happen?
No.
No, you're pretty sure, sure about that. Yes, I am. All right, then the next question. Why then would your soul seek to bring this experience repeatedly to you of this person who asks for your help and then doesn't take it?
Yeah. I've avoided that question for a long, long time. I avoid answering it because it pops. Oh, gosh. the answer I'm getting, and it feels too superficial. It's about learning patience and compassion, but that doesn't feel like it's my soul's response to this. It feels like it's just like, oh, let's practice compassion. And it doesn't, it feels more like a practice than a being that.
It's interesting, though, that sometimes the soul's simplicity, the simple message of the soul, sometimes the simple agenda of the soul is almost too simple and, in a sense, too easy or too good to believe. He says, we know it's got to be more than that. You know, it feels way too superficial. You know, kind of like love. You know, a very superficial word. But let me ask you: if you thought there was a deeper reason, if you thought that that was in fact, a superficial reason, and that there was a more significant or deeper reason than that, that your soul would have, what do you think it might be? Why would your soul create and continue to create this particular individual who also has a soul coming to you in this way and behaving in this way?
Yeah. Well, I think I hit on it when I said I was practicing the compassion with her instead of being it. It was a superficial thing for me when I was trying to be compassionate instead of just being compassionate. Putting my own agenda out of that moment's interaction with her.
So then would it be fair to say, again, I don't want to put words into your mouth, what I'm starting to hear you say is that what your soul is up to is, it understands your larger agenda, that it seeks to bring you the opportunity to actually be compassion, to virtually be understanding, and for that matter, even to be forgiving. And that it continues to place before you the opportunity to step into the full beingness of that, rather than either pretending to be or trying to be or practicing what it would be like to be, but to actually be it. And that the soul continues to bring you this experience until you give in, surrender, and actually decide, you know what? I'm going to be that, and not just wish I could be that, or hope I could be that, or try to be that. Is that, could that be the reason?
Yeah. I think it feels like I was being forgiving instead of being forgiveness.
Yeah,
I was being compassionate, but not compassion.
Yes,
anymore.
I was being compassionate rather than being the soul of compassion.
It's like, it's a relaxed
Wow,
things now.
what a sweet difference.
Yes, it is.
That you see there.
Oh.
Nice insight, nice seeing in.
Feels good.
But now let me ask you a last question. All experiences and events are co-created. There's nothing that's being created by a single one of us, from my understanding. Mm-hmm. So why do you imagine that the soul of this other person would co-create that experience with you? That is, to put it in simple street language, what's in it for her? Why does her soul keep creating this, do you think?
I don't think I'd have to know that.
Yeah, but if you thought that you knew, what would your answer be?
Do you mean outside of just being a part of this creating compassion in the world?
Why do you think, yes, I mean, in the specific terms, with specific relationship to you, and because you're creating this experience together, it's important for you to understand, for all of us to understand, that all experiences are being co-created. Mm-hmm. Each person in the experience having an agenda, that is the agenda of the soul. So we've gotten clear now, and a lovely job of getting clear about the agenda of your soul, to actually be compassion rather than be compassionate, to actually be forgiveness rather than be forgiving. A wonderful delineation. But what do you think would be the agenda, or one of the agendas, we have multiple agendas almost always, of the soul of this other person in continually bringing you this experience?
It's a very loving thing for her to do, to suffer so much for me.
What an insight. That's the insight I hoped you would reach, because I saw it immediately. What an insight. Her soul is aware of your soul's agenda to experience yourself as compassion, as forgiveness. And she will continue to bring you that opportunity, because your souls at the level of metaphysics have gotten together on this. Therefore, judge not by appearances, but look beneath the appearance, because the appearance, the surface appearance, could look as if she's your antagonist in a way.
Yes. Yeah.
But the beneath the surface appearance makes it quite clear that she's your benefactor, that you couldn't have the experience for which your soul yearns without her being willing to play the role that she's playing, which is not easy, not an easy role for her to play. Therefore, we can even be grateful for her.
Have to be, really. There's no choice when I realized that. And I felt abused by her victimhood.
Yeah.
And it's so...
And see, now we're clear what Conversations with God says. There are no victims and no villains. There are no victims and no villains. There's only the mutual agenda of the souls, mutually held and mutually experienced. That's all there is. So now when she comes to you, you can greet her with joy and thankfulness and gratitude, even though she will continue to stand in the profile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That used to antagonize you. And now you can look across the room and go, ah, I see who you really are. I get what you're doing here. Whoa, I get it. I see the whole thing. How does that feel?
It feels wonderful. It feels like a weight's off.
And that's what
Very
happens.
good.
That's what happens when we embrace the logic of the soul. Soul logic.
Mm-hmm. Lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
What a gift.